When we talk about the manifestation process through the chakras, which is the downward current from the crown to the base, we encounter blocks or resistances at each chakra level. So, for example, in the fifth chakra, which is our communication, our voice, one of the major blocks people have to communicating their vision to other people, whether it's talking to a banker to get a loan, whether it's talking to a friend to get them to go out to lunch with you, whether it's getting someone to go on a date with you or selling your product to customers or clients, one of the major stumbling blocks that comes up is people's inner critic. I find everybody has one. I certainly have one. It hangs out in the upper corner of my computer every time I sit down to write, and it goes, yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know if that's good enough. Somebody else might have said that. And many people get stopped by that inner critic. Some of those voices are really vicious. And so if you're really going to communicate clearly what you want, you got to get that critic out of the way. Well, how do we do it? Most people just go inside and say, shut up. Well, I don't find that works. Just like when you tell a kid to shut up, usually they don't. They just get louder. So we have to root out the voices of the inner critic. And there's three major ones that are of increasing intensity. So the first of these critics, I call the realist. The realist might say, you know, it's a tough job market out there. The realist might say, oh, I've tried to lose weight before and I haven't been successful, or it really takes a lot of effort to lose weight. The realist might say, there's no good men out there. There's a lot of things that the realist might say, and there can be plenty of good evidence for that. And that's the trouble. We can create evidence for our beliefs. But does that really serve us? Well, the realist needs to be acknowledged and needs to be balanced with a positive voice that is the doer. The realist says, it's a tough job market, but I know somebody who can help me get a really good resume. And the doer has a voice that counteracts the realist. Okay, the next level of inner critic is a little more serious. That's the doubter. The doubter is not so much about what's in the outer world, it's more about the self. Well, I doubt that you can do this. I mean, look at what happened last time you tried. You failed, and so far your relationships haven't lasted, or all your attempts to lose weight have failed. I doubt that you have what it takes. And that's a very serious voice that we often buy into. We may not even hear it as a voice, but it's just in there when we go to do something. And the doubter can be balanced by the dreamer. The dreamer says, what's my dream? And how would I love life to be? And what does it take in order to create what I want? Not do I have what it takes, but what does it take? What do I have to do? Bring it on. Let me do it. Then the more serious one, I call the annihilator. And many people have a silent or hidden annihilator in their voice. And that annihilator is more than the doubter. It says, who do you think you are to try and be doing this? Don't you know that nobody your age does this, or nobody's done this before, or you don't have a right? And that's often an internalized abusive parent voice. But we may not even hear it in those words, but when you go to do something, we feel paralyzed. Well, we balance the doubter with the voice of the visionary. The visionary can be as unrealistic as the annihilator, because the annihilator is not realistic, it's just a voice. The visionary can say, yeah, and if I created this, well, it could change the world. Now, we might say, oh, that's fantastic thinking, but what it does is it balances the annihilator, who is no more realistic than the visionary, and they start to cancel each other out. So when you root out all these voices, you can then come into what I call a neutral voice that just says, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to produce a play. And it doesn't have this inner critic, and it doesn't have the exaggeration of the dreamer or the visionary either. It's just matter of fact. Those voices are all in the background, and you can move forward. Now, it's not that those voices will never come up again. They will. But when they come up, you can just say, yep, that's the visionary, or that's the annihilator, or that's the doubter. I know how to combat that. And you recognize it, and you acknowledge it, and you balance it, and you get back to neutral, and you move forward.